I loved your Redacted Comics. Those are awesome. Did you get the idea for that from like the Brainiac's skull ship?
Oh,
like,
the skull ship,
when
how
you're-
on the back it has like a little placeholder
Yeah,
for
little
the guy.
guy. I thought that was
Like you're referring to like this comic I posted. I posted like the full thing on my Patreon, but like I posted like a little clip of it on Instagram, and it's like it's this idea of redacted comics where you like black out certain things. So in this case, it was one of my superpowers pages, and so I blacked out all the characters that like I don't own the rights to. So but it makes like an interesting aesthetic of like how much you can tell what's going on, and then the humor of like when something's just totally blacked out, and maybe there's a word balloon, or maybe there's a word balloon and then the stuff in the word balloon is crossed out too. But
that girl's like you can tell on the bike or whatever.
But like the original thing I thought of it for was there's this series called 1963 that Alan Moore wrote and I guess co-wrote with his collaborators like Rick Veitch and Dave Gibbons and Steve Bissette. It was like a bunch of guys doing this like Marvel style comic. It was 1993, and they were like, man, comics have changed a lot since 1963 and 1993. Let's make a comic called 1963 that's kind of like an old Marvel style comic, and we'll do it the Marvel method, where like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby talk in the office or they talk on the phone, and it's like, hey, what do you want to do for the next issue? And they sort of have a conversation, and then the artist goes off, Jack Kirby goes off and like draws the whole thing, and then Stan Lee would put in the final like dialogue after he gets like the completed pages. That's the story. That's supposedly how it works, and finer details and stuff. But with 1963, it was these like new characters that were supposedly made in the 60s. These superhero characters. It was Mystery Incorporated. They were kind of like a Fantastic Four ripoff. And then you had Horus, Lord of Light, who was like the Egyptian god Horus as like a stand-in for Marvel's Thor. There was USA, the ultimate special agent, who was like the Captain America stand-in. And so it was all leading towards this grand finale where the characters from 1963 all travel to 1993, and then they fight like the 1993 Image Comics characters, because it was an Image comic. And I mean, I was a big fan of this comic, and it was like a very formative influence for me when I started making comics. But the thing is, this big finale, which was going to be this like annual issue where the 90s guys and the 60s guys all fight each other, it never happened. For like various reasons, it never came out. So over the years, there have been different like thoughts about maybe bringing it back and stuff. There was like a falling out among the creators, I think particularly among some of the creators and Alan Moore. So like they need everybody to sign off to make this finale. So I thought, like, what if they did a redacted version of it where like whoever's like working on it or whatever, Rick Veitch or Steve Bissette or whoever, they make that comic of like that final issue and they draw the full thing out. But then when it's time to like publish it, you create like a file where you redact, where you create these black areas over the characters you don't own the rights to, and you try to like negotiate with the other guys and hopefully get them to sign off. And so the more guys you get to sign off, you can like maybe delete the leave the redaction out. But if worse comes to worse, you can release a redacted version where and so people reading it will kind of know the inside story, and it'll give it like an interesting aesthetic too, because in some cases you'll kind of know who it's supposed to be, but it's not there, so you're not, and so I thought like, oh, maybe that's a solution. And you can put out like various iterations. So you could put out like the first printing where like a bunch of the characters are redacted. And then you could put out another printing where like maybe you got, so that was where like I first started getting the idea for like redacted comics. And the funny thing is, whenever I thought about like, ooh, what if I did this, like what if I did what I think that finale should be. And as it turns out, local artist, Pittsburgher Don Simpson made his version of like the 1963 finale, but it's like a spoof. It's kind it's kind of not exactly, but like I thought like, what if I make, like what I think that finale should be. Now this was before I found out that there actually is a script. Like Alan Moore actually wrote a script and Rick Veitch does have it. So like it's not like this thing doesn't exist in any form. Like that could come out. So, but then I started thinking like, okay, they were doing all these stand-ins for like Marvel characters. Like if you're gonna do like a redacted comic or like an outlaw comic where like you don't own the rights to the characters or whatever, like a bootleg, why not just do the actual character? Like, why do USA and Horus and Inframan when you can just do Captain America, Thor, and you know, like why not just go straight to the source? Like, it's kind of, but again, it was just sort of a technical exercise. And then, you know, as time went on, I kind of thought of different, you know, uses for it. And then, I mean, one of them is I have so much superpowers material that I've never done, like that's never seen print, and it's like, ooh, that's a possibility. I could do a redacted version of that. So I took my existing superpowers pages and then redacted them just to kind of like as a test to kind of see how it looks. And stuff.
It made it funnier that I had read it already.
Yeah.
Or somebody reads a comic where you don't know who the hero is. They're like, oh, I'm so glad you're here.
Well, but so the thing that kind of got me thinking about it was thinking about it again was like there's all this Fantastic Four stuff. People are talking about the Fantastic Four a lot because they announced the cast. Yeah.
Remember I think we did a fantasy cast.
What was our fantasy cast?
Oh my god! It was Tom Cruise's Reed Richards was one.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Tom Cruise as Reed Richards, which would be great. Yeah, that's a funny one too. Like that would piss people off.
I know,
but I think he'd be great. Pedro Pascal is a great. I mean, we love that. So, yeah, that's good. Good, but yeah, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise could do like a double role of like he could be Reed Richards and Doctor Doom.
Yeah. Oh my Tom. Like, now we're talking. Now
I mean, maybe he's gonna be Doctor Doom. Who knows?
Holy shit.
But
Victor Von Cruz.
Yeah, Grant Morrison did a Fantastic Four comic where you think that Reed Richards and Doctor Doom are the same guy. That like all that origin stuff for Doctor Doom, where he like you know, meets these monks and does all this mystical stuff. That actually happened to Reed Richards, and part of this mystical stuff is he manifested this tulpa of himself, this physical, spiritual double of himself that is Doctor Doom. You know, and now. And it's a pretty cool hook. It lasts like 2 pages before it's revealed that no, it's just like, you know, more, you know, sort of trickery or whatever. But it's kind of, you could tell like Grant Morrison had, you know, thought of that as like a possible thing, and then kind of, you know, pulls the rug out.
In the Tom Cruise version, he sees Sue turn invisible. He gets like, Sue, it looks like you've gone clear. And he turns and looks at the camera and winks. He's like,
and then he starts jumping on the couch. I've been thinking about all this Fantastic Four stuff, and like with superpowers, I had all this stuff that I created that never made it to print. And then with Fantastic Four Grand Design, I created all this stuff and got like most of it into print. But then after I finished Fantastic Four Grand Design, I was kind of like in Fantastic Four mode, and I was like, yeah, what if I continued this, or what if I did like regular Fantastic Four comics? So I kind of came up with like a bunch of cool different like Fantastic Four scripts and drawings and costumes and things.
That's awesome.
And I've posted some of them here and there, but then like with all this Fantastic Four thing, it kind of got me back in like a Fantastic Four mood. And I thought like, oh man, what, you know, I was trying to think of things I can do with those Fantastic Four ideas. And so I thought, what if I do the redactables? And I do like a redacted like Fantastic Four comic,
sick,
like taking some of my Fantastic Four ideas and just doing it redacted, and have the main character be called Reed Redacted or Reed Redacted or something, but like the redactables, you know, and so that was,
instead of the thing, it's the void.
Mm-hmm. So rather than draw up one of these, you know, Fantastic Four pages and then redacting it, I wanted to kind of see the aesthetic. So I took some superpowers, which again, if I want to do anything superpowers, I'd have to redact that too. So.
Redactable.
But I feel like I've invented a new genre of comics. Redacted comics.
It was
a new genre.
I'm obsessed with it now.
That you can credit to me.
Yeah, great work, Tom.
Tom Scioli, creator of Redacted Comics.
The redactable Stallones. Good work.
Thanks.
It was like sick and hilarious too simultaneously. Mm-hmm. I was like, I wanted to ask you about it.
No, that's cool. Do a redacted Total Recall show. Just kind of hold still and let the redacting happen. So yeah, we'll see it.